I exited the small building and began jogging back to the cabin. It took me a good 15 minutes for me to get from the cabin and get back, so by the time I made it back it was 3:55. Running up the driveway I pulled the keys out of my pocket and held them up so my friends could see them. "I got the keys," I announced. "Finally," Anna cried. "You were taking forever." My arms were getting tired of holding stuff. I chuckled. "I didn't take that long." "You did too," she whined. "Besides, these bags are heavy." I shook my head. "Sure," I said, walking up to the front porch. I went over to the front door and unlocked it. Swinging the door wide open, I turned to my friends and bowed. "You may now enter." Jack laughed. "Thank you, handsome hero. What would we have done without you?" "I don't know, but this poor damsel," I said, pointing to Anna, "might have passed out. You should know it's rude to let women carry heavy things. Proper gentlemen should be doing all of the hard labor." Jack rolled his eyes, but Ella looked offended. "And what should the women be doing?" she asked, staring at me. "Why, whatever they would like," I declared. "Mountain climbing, archery, arson, lacrosse, and while they do that the man should be taking care of the house and tending to the less than greater than children." Both Anna and Ella smiled. "I think we could get behind that," Ella grinned. "Luke, look what you've done," Jack cried. "You've given them ideas." "Since you think that," Anna said, a vicious smile spreading across her face, "why don't you boys bring our bags inside for us?" I smiled. "Oh, ladies," I said, "gentlemen, do that." "Unfortunately for you, neither of us are a gentleman." Looks of shock crossed Anna and Ella's faces and Jack smiled. With that, I gave a tip of my imaginary hat, grabbed my bags, and slipped inside the cabin. As I entered the cabin, I was shocked to see the inside was just as breathtaking as the outside. The interior of the cabin was made out of the same gorgeous reddish-brown wood as the outside, and it had a spacious layout. Upon entering the first room you see it's large and open. There were 3 parts to this room, the first being the living room. Pushed up against the wall on the right sat a cushy beige couch with a coffee table made out of dark oak wood in front of it. On the left side of the couch sat a small table crafted out of the same oak wood with a bare lamp sitting on top of it. A large TV sat on the wall across from the couch. The remote was placed on the coffee table. The second part of the room was in the far left corner, and that was the kitchen. The gray and white marbled countertops lined the wall, and there was plenty of storage space in the cabins beneath them. The black stove sat not far from the corner, and above it was a microwave. Next to the kitchen was the last part of the room, the dining room. A rectangular table made out of light brown wood sat near the right corner of the room. Around it were 5 chairs made of the same wood. The cushions on the chairs were made out of the same beige fabric as the couch. As I walked farther into the room, I noticed on the left wall next to the kitchen there was a hallway. I turned down the hallway and saw a door in front of me, and the hallway continued on both sides. I opened the door in front of me and found a medium-sized bathroom. Inside was a shower tub that took up the far corners of the room, and not far from the shower tub was the toilet. It's a toilet, nothing special about it. About 2 feet from the toilet was a sink. The counter around it was gray and white granite. There's an oval-shaped mirror hanging over the sink. Under the counter are a cabinet and 3 drawers. Exiting the bathroom, I decided to head down the left side of the hallway. I probably went about 4 feet before I was greeted with a door. Opening the door, I was greeted with a decent-sized room. Pushed against the left wall was a dresser made out of the same oak as the coffee table. On the next wall over was a bed that sat in the middle of the wall. Right next to the queen-sized bed, pushed up in the corner, right next to the bed was a nightstand. On the opposite wall stood a closet with 2 folding doors. I walked out of that room and down the other hall only to find another door. Opening the door, revealed another bedroom that was about the same size as the last one. The layout was almost the same except for the fact the dresser was on the right wall and the nightstand was on the left. The closet was also a bit smaller, but that doesn't matter. Dumping my bags inside the closet, I exited the room and went to see if there was anywhere else to explore. When I turned to exit the hallway and go back into the living room, I realized that on the other side of the house were French doors that led out to the porch. "This place is awesome," Ella said from inside the kitchen. "Yeah, it is," Jack agreed. "I still can't believe that Anna found a place like this." "Me either," I replied. "It's like paradise here." "Well, I'm glad you like it," Anna chimed in from where she lay on the couch. "All I had to do was search the best cabin resorts in New York." "Was this number 1 on the list?" I asked. Anna shook her head. "No, it was number 5 and the cheapest out of all the others on the list." "Makes sense," I said. "So, what are we gonna do?" Jack asked. "Well, I want to unpack before we do anything," I told them, "but I'm good with whatever." "I want to go to sleep," Anna mumbled. "I want to eat dinner," Ella stated. I glanced over at the clock. "It's only 4:10, isn't that a bit early for dinner?" I asked. Ella rolled her eyes. "No, it's not. Besides, I'm the one who drove us all the way here." "That's not a valid argument," I scoffed. "We all offered to help drive and you said no." "That's because I didn't want you wrecking my car," Ella argued. Wreck it," I cried. "You almost wrecked it." "Keyword almost," Ella replied. "I almost wrecked but I didn't." "Where is your point?" I yelled. "You still almost killed us." "Big deal," she retorted. "At least I wouldn't have to listen to Jack's backseat driving." "I do not backseat drive," Jack argued. Anna, Ella, and I all stared at him with skeptical looks. "Okay, I might. Just a bit," he muttered. "A lot," Ella stated. "You do it a lot." "Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with Ella on this one," I told him. "Me too," Anna chimed in. "You guys are ganging up on me," Jack shouted. "That is so not fair." "Life isn't fair, Jack," Ella deadpanned. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. "I'll get it," Anna hollered, getting up from her spot on the couch. I heard the door open and turned around to see who it was. Standing in front of Anna was a man wearing the same uniform as the lady back in the shack. He was looked around his late 50s, but his gray eyes sparkled with mischief and his salt and pepper hair was styled in such confidence I didn't have the heart to tell him it looked horrible. "Hi, I'm Todd," he greeted. "I'm the owner of the resort." "Oh, yeah, I forgot to tell you guys he was stopping by." I realized. "That's not important to know," Ella scoffed. I rolled my eyes. "Whatever." "Well, come in," I heard Anna say. Todd entered the cabin and smiled at us. "Have you settled in yet?" Jack nodded. "Yes, we have." "That's good," Todd said. "Do you like the cabin?" "It's great," Ella exclaimed. "I can't believe we didn't find out about this place years ago." Todd chuckled. "I'm glad you like it so much. We just opened last year, so that's why you haven't heard much about us." "Well," Anna said, "I'll let you know you are number 5 on the list of best cabin resorts." A look of disbelief crossed Todd's face. "I am." "Yep," Anna confirmed. "That's how I found you." "I can't wait to tell Linda this," he exclaimed. "Who's Linda?" Jack asked. "My wife works at the check-in," Todd told him. "Oh, that makes sense," he murmured. "Now I'll get to the reason I came," Todd said. "First I have some rules we'll need to go over." I nodded. "Okay, what are the rules?" "Well, first of all, for any property you destroy or damage you need to pay to replace it," Todd began. "Second, I am not allowed to be held accountable for any injuries that you may acquire during your stay. Next, I am also not responsible for any lost, damaged, or broken personal items. Lastly, I have the right to evict you if you cause harm or disruption to the other guest. I also need you to sign this form saying you agree to these rules." Pulling out 4 pieces of paper, Todd handed a paper to each of us so we could sign. Grabbing the paper from his hand, I read over the contract before grabbing a pen so I could sign it. After signing the paper, I handed it back to Todd and soon enough he had all 4 signed papers. "Great," he said, "now I'll show you how everything in the cabin works. Since we're already halfway there, I'll show you how the stove works." Todd led us over to the kitchen and demonstrated how to turn on the oven and how it works. After that, he showed us how the shower and thermostat worked. Soon enough we were back in the living room sitting on the couch chatting with Todd. There are a few more things I want to tell you about, Todd said. What's it about? Jack asked. The activities around the camp, Todd replied, and things to do outside the camp. What are they? Anna asked, vibrating in her seat. Well, first I wanted to tell you that there is a survival class going on in the surrounding woods, so if you see people, don't be alarmed, and please do not disturb them. Todd explained. Next you can find maps for all the hiking trails in the nightstand drawers. They tell you how many miles they are and how long it takes to walk, run, and bike them. There is a rock wall and a zipline course that are open on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. The lake is open at all times for swimming and kayaking. You can rent a kayak down at the shack. There is a small town 4 hours from here. I know it's a long drive, but it's worth it. The town is beautiful. I nodded. That would be fun to check out. Maybe, Ella said. Well, that's all for now, Todd declared, heading over to the door. There will be activities throughout the week you can join if you want. The cabins and campers are all invited to them, so it will be quite a crowd. With that, Todd left and we were left alone in the cabin once again. I looked at the clock. It was 4:40, which gives us enough time to unpack before dinner. Do you guys want to unpack and then make some dinner? I asked. Sure, my friends replied. So, we all headed to our rooms and began to unpack.